Well, energy. Energy problems for empaths are huge, aren't they? I'm probably making a really obvious statement because you know you're living right in the middle of it. And I want you to know right from the start is that energy is not the problem that you actually think it is at the moment. I know it's impacting you big time. I know personally, when I was going through this, discovering that, I was an empath and the things that happened to me were what happens and that it was okay. I was in a constant struggle of feeling something. It was up and down and constant. Every day I was being impacted in some way by a feeling that I didn't understand, that I would feel bad, I was in a low mood, and it was a constant, what's wrong with me? Oh, do you say that to yourself? Not again. What's this? Whose is it? Is it mine? Is this the way I'm feeling? Why am I feeling like this? Is it somebody else's? Is that how they're feeling? And it was a constant round of analysis and trying to work out why I was feeling so up and down and all over the place all the time. Really, really unpleasant way to live. And if you can relate to this, then, I understand that's probably the situation you're in. It's really, really confusing and you just want to feel okay. This can lead you to wanting to be on your own more, feeling like you need to withdraw from the world. This can mean that you need that downtime, you need to be away from people, and it takes you a long time to settle down and get balanced again. And then before you know it, you're off on the merry-go-round again. Oh, I'm feeling like this again. And what is this? Now, I've mentioned in the other videos, if you haven't watched those yet, this is about creating really, really good and strong, healthy boundaries. So it's where you're putting your attention, keeping your focus more on yourself. This is the way forward through this. You'll need a little bit more information than that, obviously, in the context of a short video that I'm doing for you here, just to let you know which direction you'd need to be moving with this. Boundaries are the number one thing. Now, the way you create a boundary, there's so much information out there, isn't there, that says create a circle around you of white light. Well, that might give you a temporary relief, but let's be honest, I tried it. Have you tried it? Does it maintain a protection all day long, all day, every day? In that moment when you do it, you might think, oh yeah, that's great. Then the minute you take your attention off it, then you're sort of in everybody else's energy again. I call it human energy soup that we move through and walk through and are impacted by because of a very sensitive nature and a gift of being able to do it. When there's no control over it, it certainly doesn't feel like a gift, does it? It definitely, this is where the curse word has come in. Because you're out of control, you're up and down, you're all over the place, and your energy is just off balance. This is something you can learn to be in control of. This doesn't mean that you lose your gifts. You can have an awareness of energy without feeling it yourself, without taking it into you, without holding on to it and then starting to analyse it. The problem is the analysing as well. As I've mentioned before, when you put your focus and attention into something, you will make it bigger and you'll hold it to you. So analysing what it is, whose it is actually making it become bigger. It's almost like we make it ours and hold it there within your own energy field. There is so much you can do to take control of the energy problem, living in other people's pain, problems, thoughts, and of course being that people fixer and the wanting to help other people draws you into other people's energy fields. So there's a few different angles we need to come at to make the change that's needed so that you can comfortably stay in your own space. So you'll lose that compulsive need to go in and fix, number one, you will feel comfortable in creating a boundary and learning how to do that. It's not this circle of white light, circle of energy that you put around yourself. It's more of a new way of thinking. It's actually a psychological shift you make to enable you to do that. Because at the moment, the need to help other people may be more prominent than it needs to be. This is where it feels like a compulsion, that you can't stop yourself doing it. So we need to address that. That in itself starts to create that strong boundary. It's about making yourself as important as other people. We need to work with that one just a little, or just a lottle. That might be a continuing theme that you've lived with. And when you're able to have more self-worth, more self-esteem, recognising yourself, this also buys into creating a strong boundary. So white light, imagining stuff around you may give you a temporary relief, may make you feel better for a short period of time, but creating a boundary in a more permanent, solid, healthy way is a psychological shift that you can make by let's having a little look at, how we can get you feeling better about yourself, shifting those beliefs around that have caused you to believe that you come second. Enough. That has got to go. So there's a few things that we can look at and need to change around so that you start to take control of your energy field and are able to do that. At the moment, that's going to feel a bit, how do I even start? That's okay. You just haven't learnt the information and the things, the techniques and the strategies and the tools and the skill set that you need, that you can actually do. I've got a takeaway program, actually something that you can just do on your own, that will shift all of these different aspects for you by helping you to learn and move forward into a new way of being. Energybusters was created to do exactly that, because this is the number one problem, isn't it, as empaths? Being affected by other people, not being able to be around others without your moods and your feelings being affected, and you constantly feeling all at sea. Your balance is off. Grounding, what even is that? There is so much out there that sort of talks about grounding but still leaves you feeling, well, yeah, but I still can't do it. If you can relate to that was my experience of it. I've read about it. I know what it is. I can sort of go through go through the motions of doing what they tell you to do. Did it make me feel any better? No. So if that's happening for you, I totally get it. Grounding is also something I cover in Energybusters, because it is very, very important that this be a permanent psychological shift. Grounding into yourself, that makes the difference, and also adds to being able to have this very, very strong, comfortable boundary. Not where you're shutting people out, although you might want to do that at the moment, and that's always your choice. It's more about you're open and you can be caring and loving still. You've still got the gift, you've still got the want to help. Want rather than need is a different thing, but it's a healthy boundary where you decide what you're going to let in and what you keep out. And anything that does come in, you will learn to let it flow straight through you. And this is what Energybusters does, and what I have set it up for. It's on a fabulous price, and I wanted to do this because it's such a massive problem for empaths, to make it as available to as many people as possible. I'll pop the link to that below this video, so you can go and check out the details, find out what's in it for you, because this sort of transformation is like massive, to move through this particular problem out the other side, so that energy is no longer the issue to you that it has been. I can only tell you the difference, from my own personal perspective. I think I've mentioned before, I don't just teach from a psychological training point of view. It's from personal experience. I know that I was in a very, very low place, being affected by the energies that were around me. I felt very helpless and out of control. Learning in the way that I have through my training and delving into myself and dealing with this problem means for me that I can be around other people and I can feel other energies, but that's something I'm aware of and I don't live in. Even if there was to be an actual feeling of somebody else's energy where I feel it internally, that's all it is. It's a second, and then I can choose that that's not staying in my space. I know at this point you might be thinking, really? Is this possible? I didn't even know I got a choice over this stuff. You absolutely have, and I'm here to help and support you so that you are not living in other people's energy soup. You don't want to be doing that, not when you've got a choice. And learning that you've got a choice is really eye-opening, freeing, and so enlightening. You know, this page is called Empowered Empath for a reason, because I wanted to come onto a platform to be able to let you know that you do not have to live the way that you have been living. So energy in itself, you can start to think, well, you know, it's just a problem. It's something I experience. I'm sensitive. I'm an empath. It's just going to happen. No. You can be aware of energy and not be negatively impacted by it. This really opens up a whole new way of being, you know, because you've got that intuition, that knowing of situations that are around you, people you meet that you may not get a negative feeling with, but you don't have to dive into that. And this is what I teach you. It's a useful, helpful knowing. It's like having somebody on your shoulder that's giving you information that not other people are aware of. This enables you really to protect yourself, to choose who you want to be around and who you don't. Even if, because you don't know, do you? You don't, you know, when you meet somebody, you don't know what that feeling may be, what it's about exactly, but you know there's a feeling. You don't have to dive into it. That intuition you can learn to trust to such an extent that it is an information coming in where you go, okay, I accept that. I'm going to keep my distance there. Or, no, I'm not going to go and do that. No, I'm not going to engage with that person. No questions. Which is a glimpse into my world now. I'll always, always trust my instinct, my gift, 100%. Because you know your intuition is so much more intelligent than the brain. It's tapped into a whole massive whatever it is out there, however you want to label it. It's moving beyond our physicality into the spirituality of who we are really, beneath the ego, the mind, the thinking process, the energy being that you are beneath all that is connected to something far bigger than what we can process in our brains. So I'd much rather trust that instinct every time. It's like I've got 1,000 helpful people who know things that I can't possibly know, coming through and assisting me, whether that's actual people or just a general knowing, however you want to define that. But I will absolutely trust my instinct every time. So when it comes to doing something like Energybusters, for example, if that feels right to you, bypass the brain, get involved and do that, because that is the thing that's going to be most helpful for you right now. If it doesn't feel right to you, then it's not right for you. Doesn't mean it's not right for you forever, but right now. Now, something else may be more appropriate for your growth, your moving forward and living in a healthy and happy way, which is what I want for you. And as always, I'm letting you know that is possible. Let me know if you've got any questions. As usual, you can contact me at any time. I'd love to, have you on board with Energybusters, or together, work together one-to-one to assist you to be living your happiest, healthiest life.